Yeah,
So
sure.
at what point did you get the itch to start your own business?
So that actually came about because of my health condition that I have. So I have a an autoimmune disease. It's called ankylosing spondylitis. And like all other autoimmune conditions, it basically means that my immune system is attacking my body, because it mistakes cells in my body as foreign things that it needs to attack and destroy. In the case of ankylosing spondylitis, that means attacking cells in joints.
Okay.
So mainly what's called the axial joints. So that's the spine.
Hmm.
So that all the vertebrae, the neck, shoulders, things connected to the spine as well. So the shoulders, the ribs, the hips, and occasionally other joints as well, like my knee,
Hmm.
jaw, and that attacking the immune system attacking those cells means that there's inflammation, which causes pain and stiffness, and fatigue as well. It's the same, so a similar mechanism starts happening as when you get the flu or a cold. That sort of feeling of tiredness and you run down and you just want to go to bed because you
Okay.
just feel
Is it common?
bad. It's pretty common. There's something like 200,000, 300,000 people in the UK who
Okay.
have AS. Um, but there are all sorts of other conditions which are very, very similar. Sort of like rheumatoid arthritis is a very similar sort of mechanism. It's the immune system attacking joints in the body. But with rheumatoid arthritis, it just affects different joints. So it tends to be the fingers, the wrists, the feet. Um, but there's all sorts of things like lupus and
Hmm.
MS. There's polymyalgia rheumatica. There's lupus. All sorts of different ones
Hmm.
that I've come to found over the years researching it. And so that's something that I actually have had since I was 17 years old. I'm
Okay.
38 now. So it's something that I've been dealing with for a very long time. And when it first became a problem when I was going through university. Initially, it my knee swelled up. That's the first thing that happened when I was 17. It ballooned up, and I got a diagnosis pretty quickly, which is quite rare in these sorts of things. They're quite hard to diagnose. But I was lucky enough to get a diagnosis. Um, but it sort of settled down, and it didn't really become a problem until I was going through university. The during my psychology years, just gradually I got more and more pain, more and more fatigue,
Hmm.
and it was every day, and it was constantly changing up and down. Some days it would be my lower back, some days it would be my upper back, and it actually got to a point where I was in a lot of distress, and I just didn't know quite how to handle it or what to do. I ended up going to see a counsellor at Newcastle University. It's one of the things that they offer. I think all universities, I assume,
Hmm.
have some sort of counselling service
Yeah.
for students. And that was the first time that I really sort of was able to explain to somebody, talk through what I had been feeling, what I had been experiencing, um, to somebody who wasn't a close friend or family. It was just somebody who I didn't know, who was just there to listen.
Hmm.
Um, and that was, uh, I mean, it, I burst into tears after about 2 minutes of just talking, explaining what I was going through, and that's when I realized that there was so much anxiety
Hmm.
and fear and frustration, and sadness and all these emotions because I've been in pain for so long, and
Do you
and not
think,
really knowing what
I
to
was going to
do.
say, do you think it was because you didn't know what it was? Because obviously why I'm trying to go with this is almost, it's when you obviously have a condition, that it's when you both find out about it yourself. I guess at the time, because we're pretty much the same age, I guess with the many online like community groups or in-person community groups, and how you can interact and get to meet people who are similar. Was there any of that, or?
Well, yeah, at the time, not really. I mean, I guess the internet would have still been a relatively small thing when I was going through that. So there wouldn't have been anything like the resources there
Mhm.
are today. Um, but also, it was just the fact that um, I guess it's not something that you're ever taught how to do.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the medical system is a fantastic system for dealing with something that is acute and that is treatable and curable. So, we've got this wonderful system where we go and talk to a doctor, we get diagnosed with something, you get a treatment, you get followed up, and then hopefully you're better and you're discharged. But when it's a chronic condition, it's something that isn't curable,
Mhm.
it's just manageable. And even when it comes to managing it, sometimes the drugs just aren't very effective, and you're kind of left to manage it on your own.
Okay.
That's the difficult bit. That's the thing that there isn't a lot of help for. The health system isn't really built to deal with that. It's very expensive
Mhm.
to deal with that because it requires constant interaction between a patient and occupational therapist or physiotherapist or psychologist or whoever it is.
So
Um,